You don't stay poor because you're lazy. You stay poor because you fell into a trap so invisible that most people live their entire lives inside it without ever realizing it exists. And the worst part is, it doesn't begin with failure. It begins with success. It begins the moment you finally get your hands on $10,000, not millions, not hundreds of thousands, just $10,000. Because while most people see $10,000 as progress, Warren Buffett sees it as a test. A silent test that separates people who will build real wealth from those who will spend their entire lives chasing it. Imagine this. Two people, same age, same income, same opportunity. Both managed to save $10,000. At that exact moment, they stand in the same place financially. No advantage, no disadvantage, just potential. But fast forward 10 years and everything changes. One of them is financially stable, maybe even free. The other is still stuck, still stressed, still wondering why money never seems to stay. The difference wasn't luck. It wasn't intelligence. It wasn't even income. It was one repeated decision made over and over again, starting with that first $10,000. Most people don't realize it, but $10,000 is not just money. It's a seed. And the problem is, people don't treat it like a seed. They treat it like a reward, something to use, something to enjoy, something they deserve after working hard. So they upgrade their phone, they buy better clothes, maybe they put a down payment on a car. It feels justified, it feels normal, it feels like progress. But in reality, that's the moment they fall into the trap. Because seeds are not meant to be consumed, they're meant to be planted. And this is where psychology takes over. Spending feels real, immediate, tangible. You see it, you touch it, you experience the reward instantly. But investing feels like nothing. No excitement, no visible change, just numbers on a screen and time passing slowly. And human nature hates that. We're wired to prefer immediate rewards over delayed ones. That's why most people fail, not because they don't know what to do, but because they can't tolerate the feeling of waiting. Now here's where it gets interesting. Let's say you take that $10,000 and invest it. Not in something risky, not in a get-rich-quick scheme, just a simple, steady 10% annual return. The first year, it becomes $11,000. That's it, no life-changing difference. The second year, $12,100. Still nothing impressive. This is the phase where most people quit. They look at the growth and think, this isn't worth it, so they pull the money out and spend it. And just like that, they reset their progress back to zero. But what they fail to understand is that compounding is not linear, it's exponential. It starts slow, almost invisible, but over time it accelerates in a way that feels almost unfair. After 10 years, that $10,000 becomes around $26,000. After 20 years, over $67,000. After 30 years, more than $170,000. Same starting point, same money, completely different outcome. And the only difference was patience. Warren Buffett understood this better than almost anyone, not because he's a genius, but because he respected time. He didn't rush the process. He didn't interrupt compounding. He didn't treat money as something to consume. He treated it as something to grow. And most importantly, he started early and stayed consistent. Here's the truth most people don't want to hear. The first $10,000 is not about money. It's about identity. It's about proving to yourself that you can delay gratification, that you can think long-term, that you can control your impulses. Because if you can't grow $10,000, you won't grow $100,000. If you can't protect $10,000, you won't keep $1 million. Money doesn't fix bad habits, it amplifies them. That's why so many people feel stuck. They focus on earning more instead of managing better. They believe that once they make more money, everything will change. But it doesn't, because they bring the same habits to a higher income. They spend more, they upgrade more, they reset more, and the cycle continues. The trap evolves with them. At first, it's $10,000, then it becomes $50,000, then $100,000, but the decision stays the same: spend or grow, consume or invest, immediate pleasure or long-term freedom. And most people choose wrong again and again without even realizing it. But the real cost of the $10,000 trap is not the money, it's time. Every time you choose to spend instead of invest, you're not just losing that amount, you're losing what that amount could have become over decades. You're losing exponential growth, you're losing future freedom, and time is the one thing you can never get back. Think about this. If you delay investing by 10 years, you don't just lose 10 years, you lose the most powerful years of compounding, the early years, the years where growth stacks on top of growth. That same $10,000 that could have turned into $170,000 becomes nothing, not because you made a bad decision once, but because you made a small decision repeatedly. And this is where everything changes, because escaping the trap is not about making one big move, it's about creating one simple rule, a rule that Warren Buffett lives by whether he says it directly or not. Never consume your seeds, only live off the fruit. This means your first $10,000 is untouchable. It is not for spending, not for upgrading your lifestyle, not for impressing others. It is your foundation, your starting point, your proof that you are playing a different game than most people. Once you adopt this mindset, something shifts. You stop seeing money as something to use and start seeing it as something to multiply. You become more patient, more strategic, more aware of your decisions, and slowly your financial life begins to change. Because wealth is not built in big moments, it's built in small decisions repeated over time. Quiet decisions, invisible decisions, the kind that no one applauds, but they compound, just like money. And one day, the results show up. Not instantly, not dramatically, but undeniably. And by then, it's too late to go back to your old mindset, because you've seen what patience can do, you've experienced what discipline creates, and you understand something most people never will. The $10,000 was never the goal. It was the test. And once you pass it, everything else becomes easier.